All right, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you a hip internal rotation setup that's been one of the favorites of my people in Operation Human First, or my online platform. I've never actually thought to put this one on YouTube for free, and honestly I thought that I had it on YouTube, and I've just realized that I don't. So I'm going to show you guys that setup today. Now this setup is going to be from it's a 10 to 20 minute Kinstretch class, which is one of the shorter Kinstretch classes that I have in my online platform for those people that are working on hip internal rotation, but don't always have 30 to 75 minutes or more to sit down and do a full training session, but still want to keep pushing the needle forward and making sure that they're making progress. So this will be from that class in particular. I hope it helps you, and let's get into it. All you're gonna need is a yoga block and some space on your wall, and that's about it. So when we come up to the wall here, what we're gonna do. Now this throws me off just slightly. It's actually pretty close, honestly, but it's not perfect. And you know what? That's the reality of doing this stuff at home too. It's often not perfect. So what I'm gonna have you do is set up with your hips and knees around 90 degrees. So when you look, you wanna see, okay, yep, my knees around 90 degrees of bend, my hips around 90 degrees of bend. You're gonna have to tinker with it. If you have a mirror, that's always helpful, but not always necessary. And your block's gonna be between your knees. We're not gonna put it this way. We're not gonna put it this way. We're gonna put it this way. A foam roller also works beautifully. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna do that first exercise that you did, which is feet are gonna come off the wall for just a second. Spin your hips inwards as far as you can. And then when you find how far they'll go apart or how far they're willing to go apart, you're gonna place them on the wall there. And from that point, you're gonna walk your feet, watch my feet, one wiggle out further. Notice how it was only one wiggle, so I'm not cranking my feet as far apart as I possibly can. I've found my end range active. I'm gonna go one wiggle, just a little bit past that. And if I have the mobility in my ankles, I'm gonna keep my feet pointed straight ahead, and I'm gonna make sure my knees don't start falling out like this, because that's external rotation. So we wanna keep that block in place. And then we're just gonna hang out here and we're gonna stretch for a little bit. And while you guys hang out and stretch, I'm gonna talk you through what's gonna follow all of this. So you're gonna let your hips just chill out in this position, try to relax. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep this block in place, which like I said, keeps us in some internal rotation. We're gonna hit some PAIls and rails here, or some isometric loading in this position here. And what that's gonna look like, I'm gonna take my feet off the wall to show you, but yours are gonna stay in place because you should be stretching. What that's gonna look like is you're gonna be applying pressure into the wall like this. So it's as if you're trying to externally rotate, and that's so important. You wanna be applying force in the right direction so that you bias the right tissue in your hip. If you just think push into the wall, or you give me a linear force, it's not gonna hit the deep stuff in your hip like we're trying to, and like we need to give you more hip internal rotation. So you really wanna visualize your femurs externally rotating and applying force into the wall, okay? The other way you can imagine it is if I was standing beside you and thinking about trying to pull your foot out and off the wall and you're trying to keep it pinned, you should feel a lot of weight going through the inside of your foot as you drive into that wall. After we've done that, what you would then do is you're then gonna think about trying to spin your thighs inwards more, which is gonna make your feet get lighter on the wall, okay? So you're gonna think spin those hips inwards, 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 which would then, instead of applying pressure into the wall, make your feet lighter on the wall. Then I'm gonna have you hold that contraction. Again, we're gonna increase the spice level here. You're gonna hold that contraction and see if you can then take your feet off the wall without having this happen, okay? So without your feet coming in, you wanna see if you can keep your feet exactly that far apart, use that outside hip stuff, peel off, maintain that angle, and then place it back down. Now the only other thing that I will mention here is that some of you will have asymmetrical hips. So when you look at your hips on the wall right now, it might look something like this. You might have way more range of motion on one side than the other, okay? And that's totally fine. If you really struggle with it though, feel free to do one leg at a time, where you just have kind of a stability leg and then you really focus on trying to get the rotation happening on the other side, and then you can flip and do the other side, and you would just replay this. So do it once through on one side and once through on the other side. Or if you feel like despite being in a different position, you can feel things happening on both sides. They might feel different, but you still feel like you're getting work in on both sides. That's fine too. So we're gonna get into it now. If you'd like more time here, please feel free to hit pause and extend your time in a stretch. You're absolutely allowed to personalize these videos to you, as you should. But I'm gonna join you here. So a big breath in, pelvis is gonna stay still. We're gonna start to think about pressing our feet into the wall and drawing them together as if trying to externally rotate our hips with just 20% effort to start. Keeping a little squeeze on that block the whole time too. Work up to 40% with me. Find 60, going just above half as hard as you think you could. 80. And your greatest, safest effort, and hold as much as you can without pain. Trying to think spin into that wall. Nothing's moving at all here. We're gonna hold this for another 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, remember what I said, 2, 1. Now think spin your thighs inwards, make your feet lighter on the wall. You're trying to create more distance between your feet, and now you're checking if we take our feet off the wall, can you sustain that angle? Hold, 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 keep holding, keep holding, keep holding. 2, 1, keep your feet that far apart, place them back on the wall. Relax your body. Try to bring your breathing back down or slow your breathing back down. Bonus points if you go back to nasal breathing. That helps to pull your nervous system out of fight or flight. If you're feeling ambitious, you really want to push this, you can go a little wiggle further for your next round. If you're like, man, I'm already so uncomfortable, just stay at the angle you're at. It's all good. If you lost though, if you pulled your feet off the wall and your feet, when you came off, came closer together, then you're gonna wanna walk your feet back apart for your second round. So just keep that in mind. Now, we're gonna start our second round here. I won't torture you here for too long. We'll rip off the Band-Aid. If you want more time, hit pause. Take the time you need, it's all good. You're gonna tense up those legs again, everything's gonna solidify, and you're gonna give me 20% effort trying to externally rotate back into that wall. Work up to 40, 60, 80. Your greatest safest effort and hold. Body's gonna be shaking, that's okay. Try to keep breathing. We're gonna keep going here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse. Again, think spin those thighs inwards, trying to get those feet further apart. Solidify your hips and your feet in that position, and then feet are gonna come off the wall and you're gonna hold, hold, hold. Keep holding, keep holding. 3, 2, 1. Come back to the wall, nice and slow, and then slowly relax.